Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Barbara and Friends on a Mission show. You know my mission is to make happiness the norm rather than the exception, because I truly want people to live happy, healthy, financially free, abundant lives. And the thing is, part of happiness is being able to have influence and impact, but also to earn income. So today I am so excited to have a friend of mine on, Sara Finklestein. She is a registered financial consultant. So we're going to be talking about how to keep and what to do with some of the income, especially for women. And she has a free offer for a book. We are so excited to hear about it. Anyway, Sara, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Barbara. And first of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here on this platform with you, and hopefully to help the women in the audience.
Don't you find, Sara, that and I'm guilty of this, that we don't think about, like I was married, my husband did, he was the kind of the major breadwinner. I paid the bills, but I didn't do the finances. And don't you think that there's a total difference? Lots of women pay the bills, but they don't do the finances.
Yes, you are so right, Barbara. And as a matter of fact, that's what I have found even today, which surprises me. Even today in 2021, so many women are not actively involved with their own financial planning. They have no idea how their money's invested, and they may not even be clear on their own goals for their retirement. And that's one of the reasons why I wrote my book, called Wisdom for Women, which is available on Amazon. And one of the things about this book is it's a very easy read. I made it so that it's easy to understand, and it's only about 100 pages, but it has a lot of great tips in there to help women to plan for the what ifs that we may be encountering down the road as we get older and stay in retirement.
Right. And and for me, like as I said, I paid the bills, but my husband did the finances. And when he passed away, it was a rude awakening. That and I was one of the blessed ones that he left a sizable, for retirement fund. But he was the one that made the big financial decisions. So consequently, after he passed away, I made, let's say, several less than stellar financial decisions, and got into a financial bind. And through no fault of my own, but then I ended up having to declare bankruptcy, personal bankruptcy. And, and I can remember being so embarrassed that, how did this happen? How did I let myself get into this situation? And trying to handle all the stress and everything on my own. And was a big learning for me. If you are if you are starting to feel that you are in a little bit of a financial crisis, reach out right away at the first inkling of it.
The thing with women is we have these preconceptions that either we don't have enough money to seek the help of a financial professional, we may not feel that we're worthy of the help that we deserve, and so we don't seek out help.
Right.
But there are financial professionals that do not have a minimum. Some of them have a minimum portfolio size that they're willing to work with. Right. There are others like myself, there's no minimum. I just want to be able to help people. And talking about becoming a widow, did you know, Barbara, that 80% of women die single?
Wow. Yeah.
And 80% of men die married. So women end up alone at some point. Right. The majority of us do.
Right.
And that's why we need to be empowered. We need to know what we need to know. My late mother-in-law used to say, she was a certified financial planner and a CPA. And she used to have this very simple phrase: you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. And it's so funny that you're saying that, because my girlfriend and I, we were on our a show this morning, and we were talking about the same thing. You don't know what you don't know. So it's, yeah, karma. Yeah, and
And
it's
how many of
absolutely true.
us can think back to a time and say, gosh, I only wish I knew then what I
Right.
know now.
What I know now. And
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. And because women end up alone at some point, whether through divorce or becoming a widow,
Hmm.
we need to get empowered to know what to do before that crisis situation
Right.
happens.
Right.
That's why I wrote the book.
So, okay. So now, apart from the book, I mean, and which, hey, I encourage everybody, get the book. Absolutely. The thing is, what if somebody has just, like, at what age? I know they always say that the earlier you start, the better it is. But say you are not at the earliest stage, and you are a little bit older, and you are a woman, and maybe your husband is in poor health, or you're looking at in a marriage that's falling apart. What do you think? What would be the first steps? Besides, of course, getting in touch with you. To what would be the first steps that you would advise them to do?
Well, we do educational workshops pretty
Okay.
regularly.
Okay.
So as a matter of fact, we have one coming up next
Oh.
week, which is the 5 major financial challenges that women face in retirement. Because how can you plan for something if you don't know what those challenges might be?
Oh,
So
right.
the first point is knowledge. You know the saying that you hear frequently, knowledge is power?
Right.
But I'd like to go a step further and say knowledge is power when you implement what you've learned to your betterment. Just knowing about something isn't going to
Right.
do very much. You have to actually do something with that information.
Right. Right. Exactly. So true. So true. Okay, so what would be a first step?
Well, the first step is to get the basics of what you need to know to plan for your future. And
Okay.
also to deal with the holes. And the holes are the what ifs. What if you
Okay.
live a really long life? What if you make it to 100, but you run out of money at 85?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Right. See, my dad lived to be 102.
Wow.
He just passed away 2 years ago.
Oh, that's a long life.
He was a long life. Yeah. He was his company's nightmare. They every 6 months they would send us a form that he had to sign to say that he was still alive.
Cute. Well, I'll tell you that my husband's grandmother is 98,
Mm, yeah.
and her oldest sister lived to be 106.
Right. And now they're saying that the age expectancy is going to hit very soon. I mean, not in the not too distant future, that it's going to hit 100, that people will regularly live to be 115.
I've heard that. I've heard that. So that
Yeah.
requires planning, because if you retire at 65 and you live to 75, that's one thing. But if you retire at 65, you make it to 100, now you have to be able to stretch out your dollars for all that extra time period. And
Right.
then we need to factor in inflation and the
Right.
rule of 72. Are you familiar with the rule of 72? Have you heard of that?
I've heard of it, and I think I've had it explained to me, but explain it again.
Sure.
Just because, yeah.
There's so much out there to know.
Exactly. You don't know what you don't know. And sometimes we have to be reminded.
Yes, absolutely. The rule of 72 states, let's say you're getting 6% on your investments, as an example.
Okay.
You divide that 6% into 72, and that gives you 12. That means that it would take 12 years for your money to double at the rate of 6%.
Oh, got it.
So, for example, we can use that differently as well. We could say, okay, so how many years will it take before I need twice as much money just to maintain my standard of living? So let's say the inflation rate is 3%. If we divide 3 into 72, that's 24. That means in 24 years, you'll need twice as much money just to maintain the same standard lifestyle that you have today. And of course, if inflation is higher than that, then it's going to be sooner that you'll need twice as much money
Right.
to maintain your lifestyle. So that is such a simple thing, and it's so very powerful.
Yeah, that's huge. That's a great way of looking at it. I've never heard that before, which is why this is why I love doing this show. Because I have learned so much from people that, number one, that I've been able to use, because like I said, I'm on a mission to make people, make people's lives, happier, healthier, and financially free. But that includes my own.
Yeah, definitely. It's about knowledge and sharing knowledge so that we can improve our lives and improve the lives of those that are dear to us. Right. One other area that I help individuals with is Social Security planning.
Okay. Oh, huge.
Yes, absolutely. I don't know if the audience knows this, but I'd like to share.
Absolutely. For
each year that you delay collecting your Social Security benefits, you get what's called delayed retirement credits. And what that is 8% guaranteed for each year that you delay. So let's say, for example, your full retirement age is age 66. And by the way, your full retirement age is based on the year that you were born. So if your full retirement age is age 66 and you delay collecting your Social Security until age 70, now, instead of getting 100% of what you're entitled to, you get 132% of what you're entitled to, plus all the cost of living adjustments that happened in that time frame. And typically what I have found with couples is one of them is much higher wage earner than the other. And it's really important for that individual to try to delay collecting theirs as long as possible. So let's say, for example, that's the husband. Well, when the husband, God forbid, passes away, leaving the wife as the survivor, she loses one of the Social Security checks.
That's what happened to me.
Exactly.
I got survivor benefits, but that was it.
You get to keep the bigger check, but at the same time, you still lose out on the smaller check. So if the husband started to collect earlier, then the surviving spouse will get a much, much smaller check. So, and you know what I find too with self-employed individuals that have their own businesses, they will make all these deductions on their tax returns just so that they pay less in taxes. But the problem with that is that it's going to hurt them down the other end when they start to collect their Social Security benefits. If they're showing very little income, then they're going to get a much smaller Social Security check. So it's not always the best thing to take all of these extra deductions on one's tax return just so that you can lower your tax bill. So all of this, has to be talked about with a financial professional so that you make the right decisions and be in a better financial situation. Right.
Because, and planning is everything. It really
absolutely is.
And I look back now and a couple of, as I said, there was a couple of the situations that I did that were less than stellar. And I was like, oh, if I had planned a little bit, or, if I had known what I know now, then what I know now. So yeah, thing happens. Sarah, that's great. That is a absolutely amazing, just those few things that you've already told us. That's why I love this show, of bringing people on, just because they have such fields of expertise.
Absolutely.
Because we cannot possibly know everything.
For sure. And one tip that I'd like to share is about this particular couple. There was an article in the New York Post going back about 15 years ago. It was a married couple. They got married later in life. She worked for the school district, and she suddenly passed away after 9/11. And she had just about $1 million in her school pension plan. Well, her husband was expecting that he would get the pension. Married to her for 20 years. But he didn't. He didn't get a cent of her money. What happened was, when she signed on with the school board, which was many years prior to meeting him, she had to fill out some paperwork. And some of that was a beneficiary form.
Right.
And what she did was she put her mom, she put her aunt, and she put her sister. Those were her three beneficiaries
Hers.
on her form.
Yeah.
She had never updated that form in all of the years that she worked there. She never updated. So what happened was when she passed away, the Supreme Court judged this. Her mother had passed away before her. Her aunt had passed away, but her sister was still alive. And the Supreme Court ruled in the sister's favor because of the beneficiary form. The husband got nothing. And of course, the sister-in-law was not willing to share any of it with her brother-in-law. So this is so important, is for people to keep those beneficiary forms up to date, because things change. People get they get remarried, they have children. So it's really very important. So for anybody that's listening, please go home, make sure that your beneficiary forms are up to date so that God forbid something happens to you, your money will go to who you want it to go to. Right. And it is so funny that you're saying that, because I just did that on one of my insurance things. It was like the beneficiary. I said, are you sure that because this is what is going to be involved in you having this money, you're going to have to do these things on my passing. And it was like, absolutely, I'm willing to do that, and da 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 da. And it was like, okay, fine. So yeah. Absolutely. It's so important. There's all these little tips that can help us. Right. And the thing is that we don't think about it. Because and don't you think that sometimes it's like, number one, we don't want to think, like, I can't imagine, like when David and I got married, I couldn't imagine that I would be a widow at 60. We don't know. And the statistics are, Barbara, that the average age of widowhood is 57. Wow. It's hard to believe, but that's what it is. Yeah. I know one of the statistics is that 700,000 women a year become widowed. It's a huge number. That's a huge number. Huge number. And if you're listening, take advantage of, and if you have questions, reach out to Sara. So, which brings me to, how can people get in touch with you? And you said you had a free way for the people to get your free book. Absolutely. Get a free book. Absolutely. So tell us about that. Again, the book, and my phone number is the best way to get a hold of me. So you can either call or text. And the phone number is 561-302-5760. And we're also doing a workshop on April 22nd at 7 p.m., of course, a virtual workshop. We're going to be talking about the 5 major financial challenges that women face in retirement. Because again, how can you plan for these things if you don't know what they are? So it's a purely educational workshop. Would love it if you could join us. You text me, and I will send you the link to register for the event, and bring your friends. And knowledge is power. That's the first step to getting onto a better lifestyle, financially speaking. All right. Sara, this was so informational. Thank you so much for coming on our show. And I'm going to make sure that all of those, the phone number and the links, are going to go into into the show notes. And you know what? I was thinking, Sara, normally I put these out, like I have a couple of people that are in queue. I'm going to, just because it's my show and I can do it, I'm going to get this put out tomorrow or Saturday, either tomorrow or Saturday, just because you've got your workshop coming up this week. And so I'll make sure it goes out, before, like this weekend. We'll have a special edition. Excellent. Well, also for the audience, we also do a monthly newsletter. It's only 2 pages. It has some stuff about money matters, some fun tidbits. So you can sign up for that as well. It goes up via email. And also we also focus on the baby boomer population, helping those individuals with Medicare as they age into Medicare at 65, because those individuals get bombarded with phone calls, literature, and they get confused and overwhelmed. At least that's what they tell me. And so we do workshops for that as well, just to help them get clear so that they can make a wise decision about which way to go in terms of Medicare.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for listening. You've got some great tips and a little bit of homework. Go home, check to make sure your beneficiaries are up to date, and check and see if all of your paperwork is in order. I know after when David passed away, they were like, oh yeah, what do I do about this? And one of the things for me that happened to me, and I'm going to share this with you, just because, make sure, women, that you have one credit card where you are the primary. After one, and I didn't realize that until after David passed away, and they canceled all my credit cards because he was the primary. And one of the companies, this was sad, one of the companies, I called them and I said, look, what do you mean you cancel? I'm an authorized user. He had the nerve to look at me. Well, he didn't look at me, I was on the phone, but I felt like he was looking at me saying, well, you know what, when your husband died, that rescinded the authorization. I wanted to say, what, did he call you from heaven? And so there I was with no credit cards.
And that's a good point, Barbara. That's really important.
Ladies, make sure that, even if you don't use it or even only use it once a month, have an active credit card that you are the primary. You could have your husband's name on it or your partner's name or whatever. You can have two names on the card, but you must be the primary, because otherwise you lose it. I lost all my credit cards, which was, I had to start all over again. And it was at the time, you're not looking to try to do that, but I had to have credit cards to live on, to function with, because there were payments that I had that were automatic payments. And it was a nightmare. So that's my tip. That's my tip from the experience of being faced with this experience. So anyways, Sara, this was amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you everybody for listening. You've been listening to Barbara and Friends show Friends on a Mission show. Our mission is to have people live happy, healthy, financially free, abundant lives.
Thank you so much for having me, Barbara.
You are so welcome. Thanks for coming. And we'll see, and when you're listening to this, hey, leave us some love, leave us some notes, and you know where to leave them, and let us know. And if you have any challenges, hey, put in I would just really encourage you to reach out to Sara or attend her workshop. So we'll talk to you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.